It's changed a lot since the first release that I've seen, and so I just wanted to kind of give you an idea. So you start on the home screen, you have some um, menus here that you can see that will give you the option to go and do different things, link to the shop. This clicking here will actually bring up the constructed play, and you click here to choose your deck. So what we will do is
People think I'm trash,
take a look at
but they're
our
wrong.
decks, and when you open the deck, you have
Today I'm just
10
aluminum.
pre-built decks that you can see, and
But one day, I could be a stadium.
too many things open. Let's try that again. You have 10 pre-built decks and one that I have built here. So in order to edit a deck, you double click it, and so when you want to edit your deck, double click that deck, and it will take you into the edit interface. And there are multiple views for how to edit these decks. I prefer the standard layout. I have tried looking at the optional layout by clicking that button there, and to me, I just don't like it. It does give you a better breakdown for your mana cost cards. So you've got your 1 mana cost, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then your lands, and you will add your this is actually 7, but you will add columns here for however many mana that you have, and it will show you the breakdown, which is fine, but for editing purposes I prefer to have it in the traditional or default mode. So you go through here and you can search by keyword. So if you want to make a pirate deck, you just search pirate, and then if you want to filter down, if you want to make a black-red deck, I would also recommend selecting the colorless mana symbol anytime you are searching, because if you don't, it will limit your search options. So if you click here, it will give you more options, things that you would like to include into a pirate deck, especially when it says pirates you control get +1. That's a very helpful card for a pirate deck. So you want to make sure and include the colorless, just in case you have non-pirate or whatever your keyword is. So if I'm, for example, this is an Exploradorable, which is an exploring deck. So I want to search for green, black, and colorless explore keyword cards. And as you will notice, if you go through my list here, most of these have some sort of explore. I do have a March of the Drowned in there, just to get some of my creatures back, because I have experienced losing a lot of my creatures or enchantments before I get a chance to use them, so I do want to be able to pull those back out of my graveyard. So I throw stuff like that in there, but a lot of times I will use various cards that have the same keyword, and that just, for me at least, I'm a pretty simple deck builder. I'm not too complicated. I usually stick with 1 or 2 colors and maybe a keyword here and there, and I'm never going to win a tournament that way, so you don't have to tell me that I'm a horrible deck builder, because I know that, but I enjoy it, and it kind of gives me freedom to kind of choose. A few sets ago, there was the modular decks with a lot of those kind of cards, and I made a modular deck, and it was a lot of fun. It got really kind of crazy out of hand at one point, and it was just really fun for me to be able to do stuff like that. So I do recognize that I'm never going to win a tournament, of course, with this kind of deck building skill, but I am going to have a lot of fun. And I do enjoy seeing how various decks do against other types of decks. For example, this Explorer deck is, I would say, moderately aggressive. It does get a lot of creatures out there at the very beginning, and it does build them up quite a bit. So that is a lot of fun when that works. It doesn't always work. Other aggro decks that work more efficiently wipe me out of the water, and for the long game, this is not a great deck because, especially control decks, I faced a black-white deck. If you saw the video from yesterday, I faced a black-white deck yesterday that I was doing really, really well. I got him down to 5 life, and I was at 29, and then the long game hit, and I was wiped out because once the mechanic of Explorer goes out, and once I lose my key cards because of exile or because of whatever, it becomes very difficult to play this deck. And I was also running low on creature draw. I kept drawing lands, and I had nothing to pay for it. So that's something with this deck that I want to change. Probably because I think I had too many lands. I had probably 8 forests all on the battlefield at once. What I'm doing right here is if you click in the name of the card, you can remove those. And to click here, you add them. So I'm going to stick with probably 14. I had 16 to begin with, so now I've got room for 2 more. And once again, this is an Explore deck. I do believe that I have some wild cards available. Checking up here, you see I have 7 common, 4 uncommon, and I've used all of my rare and mythic rares. So I'm going to search for maybe some common and uncommons, things that I own or unown, because I can use wild cards to create them. And I would like to add some instants and sorceries, maybe some enchantments, something that will add, some artifacts, why not? That will add some value and maybe some long game to this. And that's not great. Let's see if I can do something maybe about drawing. Or, oh, you know what? I could have really used a scry yesterday. I can use scry, exile all cards from all graveyards. That would be great against maybe a pirate deck or a zombie deck, maybe even a vampire deck. But it's too specific for me. Remove a brick counter, draw a card. I could definitely use that. Okay, so we'll use an artifact, Sunset Pyramid. Okay, what about draw? Could use some +1. It's pretty helpful. What else? Destroy target forest, green enchantment, or green planeswalker. If that permanent was a Nissa planeswalker, draw a card. Whenever this creature does combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. It's pretty good. I do have some some creatures in this deck that have some pretty ridiculous abilities, and so people I have found do not like blocking those, because when they deal damage they do pretty awesome things, and so they will take the damage. So maybe whenever I deal damage I can draw another card. I'm certainly not in risk of milling through this deck anytime soon. It was a pretty slow draw yesterday, and every time that I've drawn on this deck it's pretty slow. So I may throw one of these in here. It is not super helpful to only have one of those cards, but what else do we have? Maybe I can remove it and do something else. Red creatures? Nope. Non-token creature you control dies, you gain 1 life. You may then draw a card. If you do, discard. Sounds like too much work. I really like to keep the cards that I draw. I don't want to transform into a blue card. Add, gain 3 life and draw a card. Yeah. That would be helpful. I would put that in my sideboard. And let's take a look at okay, we'll see if that is, since I have one, I'll go ahead and throw it in here. Like I said, I don't want a green blue because this is the green black. I might want to add this, and I don't really see a need for one card, so let's take a look at some other stuff. Let's reset my filter, go to green, black, and white. Maybe some common and uncommons, and let's not limit it to any certain type, because I may want some creatures in my sideboard that I don't have any yet. I'm interested in maybe creating a cat deck later, so we'll see about doing that. And I do wish that it gave you more hints in the user interface, so you don't get any sort of hint as to what these symbols mean. So if you are new to deck building, especially in a digital format, you may want to go through a help article or tutorial on the MTG Arena website just to kind of check those out. But you do have your different types of mana here, and you're colorless, and these will be your gold border cards. So when you have a gold border there, and these is what I don't know. Okay, so if you guys know what those are, and please let me know in the comments or direct message, that'd be great, because I've yet to figure that out, and I'm kind of too lazy to go check it out on the forums. It's not that big of a deal. I've been able to make whatever I wish as far as decks without that knowledge, so I'm not hurting too bad. Let's take a look now at the finished product. So we have 60 cards in my deck. To change the thumbnail of your deck, all you have to do is choose which one you want to use, which this is probably, I consider my key card here, and is a explore triggered deck. Whenever you card, whenever a creature you control explores, put a +1 counter on it, and that you gain 3 life. That is a very, very helpful card, especially the other day I was playing a black-white control, and I was able to get up to 29 life using that ability, and even though he exiled my Wild Growth Walker and kept me from playing any more of those cards, I was still able to use that ability to get me up and buy me some more time, which unfortunately I bought time to lose later in the game. But I'm done with that. I have saved that deck, and these are, like I said, these are all sealed pack pre-made decks, so if you want to go through here and check those out before you start playing, kind of give you an idea. I would definitely modify the decks before you play them, because you are not going to win against anyone else with just a sealed pre-modified pre-made deck. It's just not going to happen. You're going to get out there and you're going to have some pretty good draws, and then you're going to get wiped out. So I would definitely suggest taking one of these decks, using the core of it, and then trading out some of the cards for some other cards in your library. So if you go here, you will see that there's nothing to open yet. However, when you do start the game for the first time on this beta, you will have, I think it was 10 booster packs, which would be, maybe it was 12 because there were 3 from each set. So you can go to purchase and you will see the 4 different sets that are available as of right now, and each pack costs 1,000 in-game currency. You earn gold by winning games and completing the objectives, which your objectives are on the home screen. You see them down at the bottom. For every one that you complete, you get 300 coins, and you can refresh those to get new ones. I don't know if there is a... Oh, there is, yes. There's a limit of 2 refreshes for each of those. So if you want to refresh and maybe choose a different one, then it will refresh and it will give you a different... Okay, so now I can kill 13 of my opponent's creatures. That's great, but you do notice that the value of that challenge went down. So, 13 opponent creatures, and that is not in one game, that is cumulative, so I think I can do that by the time that we are done today, but we hopefully will be able to do that. Let's go ahead and click play. I've got my Explore Adorable deck there, and I will click play, and it will load the match. That was the fastest I have ever seen it load a match. It took me 5 to 7 seconds yesterday, and before that I had sometimes over a minute. So here we go. It gives priority right at the very beginning, and I will get to draw first, but he will go first. If you are new to Magic in any sense of the word, I would definitely suggest doing Magic the Arena as a way to get familiar with it. This is your opening hand, and you can choose to mulligan, but keep in mind every time you mulligan, you lose a card. So you've got 4 lands here, and some pretty good creatures. That's an expensive one for later, but I'll keep this, and I can play these as I go through. As you see, it shows you each step of the game. Untap, upkeep, draw. That is your first step. You've got your first main. You'll have combat in the middle, your second main, and then the end of turn you can play instants in any of those. And if you wish to plan something for later in the game, all you have to do is click the step you want to play it in, and it will ask you what you want to do in that step. So I've got 2 mana here, and it will automatically choose your mana for you if you click and drag. And I will go ahead and get my Wild Growth out there. It taps that and plays it. The waves here is the Summoning Sickness, so I am looking for, a lot of exile. I've been wiped out by exile. Not bad here. I'm gonna try to this again. Hopefully there's not another exile. Maybe I can get an ability out there. It looks like he might be playing the same deck as me. It's a black-green with a Lurking Chupacabra, so I'm looking to see if he's got the same deck as I do. And let's get Tashana out there, and I'll explore. When I explore, get a land, and I get a +1, and I gain 3 life. So I'm looking now. I'm gonna attack. I'm gonna bet he's going to block, but we'll see if he takes the 2. Okay. He must really want that blocker out. Or he thinks I have something that can deal damage to damaged creatures. I'll take the 2. I don't want to lose that Kishana just yet. Okay. I'm trying to balance my lands a little bit, so I'll do 1 of each for each turn. Let's get another Explorer out there. I'm really trying to get creatures with this Explorer. That's the key to this. I do want to keep my Wild Growth Walker, because I will get effectively 6 life for every time a card explores. And I will only attack with my Wild Growth Walker and see if he blocks. And he doesn't. I want to keep as many of my blockers available. That's one thing that I learned very quickly with this deck, is you don't want to leave yourself too vulnerable. Although you do have life gain every turn, something's going to happen and it will be difficult for you. So I do recommend, if you're playing a black-green deck such as mine, that you would hopefully follow some kind of strategy like that. So let's get another Wild Growth out here, and then I will attack. Let's see. I'll attack with those two. Still leaves me some pretty good blockers. I can take a few points. Okay. So great. Shattered Caravel is a great card for this deck. I get very many many cards that have at least 2, which crew 2 means that you can tap any number of creatures you control with power 2 or more, and this will become an artifact creature with that power toughness at the bottom. I prefer to wait until I can get some +1 counters on that, because if it dies, then it was pointless for me to get that out there. So let's move to combat, and I'm not going to combat this time. I want to hold some blockers. So I'm going to mark my end of turn, which you can do using the enter key. And if you wish to pass priority at any time, you can actually use spacebar. It's asking me if I want to counter. I don't have anything to counter, so I will resolve. He's swinging for 3 in the air, and I can't block, so I will happily take 3. So it can be my turn. Playing a land. And I want to explore, so I can get my +1/+1. I really, really, really want a creature with this. That also works. So that goes on the top. I get a +1. I get a +1 and a 3 life, and a +1 and a 3 life. I will activate this ability and tap my Seeker Squire. Since it has Summoning Sickness, I can't use it anyway, but I can tap it with another ability. That will turn that into an artifact creature. That is a 3/3. And we will move to combat. Move to attacks. And let's attack with a 4, a 2, and a 3. I'll leave my 4 here for a blocker, just in case he decides to swing with something. I'm sure he's going to want to block as many of this as he can, though. I'm going to at least lose my shadow. And he took the rest of it. Interesting. I definitely would have chosen to block at least one others, but you could have blocked 2 Looking Chupacabra with the Exili's Diviner and killed it, but you know, strategies are different for everybody. I'm not sure what the point of that was. in my previous video, I had the volume all the way up on here and was barely talking into the mic, and I don't think it's turned out very well. So if you're watching that video, it's probably going to go down, and I will edit the sound to make it easier to hear. I'm going to give this flying creature -2, -2. It's really just for the life. I mean, giving a creature -2, -2, and gaining 2 life for 2 mana is kind of a ridiculous card. I don't understand how that's a common. It's a lot of abilities, all for 1. This game is getting kind of monotonous at this point. He's not really doing much. Or she, who knows. But whoever they are is not doing too much in the way of strategy. Seems like they're kind of stuck on their draws. I'm really just waiting for 1 more land to play this Verdant. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got enough. Maybe I just don't have. I'm not paying attention. Maybe you've seen this multiple times and I haven't done it yet, but I'll gain 5 life next turn. Whatever he swings with, I'm gonna go ahead and take the hit. Let's see, if I have 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, I can play a 7 but not a 2. I think this one will be better for me to play because I'll get to draw and get my +1/+1s. Let's go ahead and draw a creature, please. Draw a creature, please. Draw a creature, please. Probably going to get countered, maybe. We'll see. You have to click resolve. I hope you know that. Okay. That's fine. Let's get my +1s. Okay. Let's play a swamp, and I should be able to play my Verdant Sun. Gain 5 life. Great card. You always need a good life gain in your deck. And let's keep it that way for now. I don't understand why you would kill your flying just to block 3. You've got those 2 over there. Okay, that makes sense. Very nice. So there you have it. That's a pretty simple gameplay on the new closed beta version. You can either... Okay. Click. Lay claim. The closed beta version here on Magic the Gathering Arena, as those people may know, as of this past Friday or Saturday, it was sometime this weekend, they released the non-disclosure agreement so we can stream and discuss publicly all of the features. So I'm really excited about that. I hope you guys are paying attention. If you are interested in playing this game in beta, there is a link on my profile on Twitch, tjulian9. You may go there and find the link to that. Sign up for the beta if you wish. I highly encourage you, if you're interested in this gameplay format, that you go and check that out. And if you like what you see, please make sure and leave a comment. Let me know what I'm doing right, maybe what I'm doing wrong. And as always, follow my channel and feel free to chat with me anytime I'm online.